us related to your understanding. Okay, maybe normally we give the situations, and then you based on that situation and your understanding of the topic, you need to identify whether was the tax treatment or something like that. Okay, regarding the withholding tax and double tax agreement. Okay, so basically these are the objective of the topic, of the slide actually. So we're going to look on the concept and definition of the withholding tax itself, and also for the DTA. Okay, and for DTA, the basic concept of public permanent establishment, and also the bilateral and bilateral credit. Okay, and then the most part of the topic is come from for focus on withholding tax. Okay, what is withholding tax? Okay, when we talk about withholding tax, actually, we need to bear in mind, okay, withholding tax only exists when we have made payment, okay, a certain payment to non-resident. Okay, so we are dealing with non-resident. Of course lah, business dealings, business dealing in Malaysia, okay, and then we make payment to non-resident for certain expenses, and that expenses constitute, of course lah, we paid for the expenses, and it constitute income to the recipient, okay, recipient which is non-resident, and then that income was subject to tax. Okay, and since the business dealing with non-resident outside Malaysia, okay, that non-resident doesn't have a business presence, okay, in Malaysia. And he just provides services from his home country. Okay, just trading with Malaysia, but that non-resident doesn't have any business premise or manufacturing plant and so on in Malaysia. So in order to make sure that our country is not losing the tax revenue with regards to this transaction upon business dealings, so the Income Tax Act, the Income Tax Act has come up with the concept of withholding tax, of which the payer, okay, the payer means that the resident person, the resident person who is in Malaysia, okay, will act as an agent, okay, an agent of the IRB to collect those income tax from non-resident and then submit to the IRB. Okay, and then since the payer, the resident in Malaysia, okay, the company in Malaysia, I say company lah, yeah. Okay, the company in Malaysia, okay, which is the payer, will have to withhold the portion of the payment. Itu kita panggil withholding tax. Okay, withhold a portion of the payment and then pay to the IRB. Okay, public ruling latest public ruling number 10 in year 2019 has been issued regarding the various aspects of withholding tax payable under special classes of income in section 4A. Okay, nanti you have a look later on. Just have a look on this public ruling, okay, to gain further understanding on the topic. Okay, so when we talk about withholding tax, so what are those income ataupun what are those payment that we as a payer need to withhold, okay, a certain amount. Okay, so withholding tax only restricted to various payment, okay, only for these 6 categories of payment made to non-resident. Okay, first, special classes of income, section 4, capital letter A. Ini kita cover dah tahun lepas ya, on tax 1. And then we have payment for interest, payment for royalty, contract payment, payment for payment to public entertainer, and other income under section 4F. Okay, so only this group of income ataupun this group of payment which are made to non-resident are subject to withholding tax. So for the non-resident will only be liable for withholding tax if they fulfill all these requirements. Okay, first, the recipient is a non-resident and the income has to be one of the categories stated just now. Okay, the 6th category. And that those income has to be deemed derived from Malaysia. Okay, meaning that the business transaction tu is deemed derived from Malaysia. Okay, so kita tengoklah definition, kita dah jumpa dah last semester ya. What is meant by deemed derived from Malaysia. Okay, and then another criteria, the income is not attributable to a business carried on by the non-resident in Malaysia except for contract payment. Okay, so except for contract payment, the income that is made, the payment made for is not related to a business carried on by the non-resident in Malaysia. Okay, means that let's say the non-resident could also maybe also have another business in Malaysia or carried out in Malaysia. Means that the business may be subsidiary company, okay, a company located in Malaysia and then having operation in Malaysia. Okay, itu. So, but the income is not related to that business. Then barulah dia boleh consider withholding tax. Okay, except for contract payment. There we have special treatment scheme for contract payment. Okay, and then the non-resident have the non-resident must ensure that the income is not exempted. Schedule C of the Act or double the taxation agreement Malaysia and the non-resident home country. Maknanya income tu is not exempted by the Act, and also or either one, the double tax agreement between the countries, Malaysia and their countries, are not exempted that income. Okay, when we talk about, okay, look at here we have DTA. Okay, memang topik tu kemudian sikit, tapi saya akan sentuh sikit lah bila saya dah mention kat sini regarding DTA. Okay, DTA here is actually to normally a mutual agreement between countries. Okay, most of the countries in the world have DTA, the double tax agreement with Malaysia. So under the DTA agreement between countries, there are certain income that are already set up, means that in terms of tax rate, okay, lower tax rate or tax exemption and so on. Okay, since that the income might have been taxed in Malaysia, but also will be taxed in their home country. So in order to reduce the overlapping or to reduce the burden, some countries, okay, under DTA agreement tu, dia agreed lah sama ada the income will be exempted ataupun the income will be subject to lower tax rate and so on. Okay, itu depends pada negara masing-masing lah. Okay, dan tengok pada agreement ni DTA ya. Okay. Okay, rate of withholding tax. Okay, withholding tax rate, withholding tax is being levied based on specified rate by referring to the gross income. Okay, so what that means, okay, all the category of payment that we list out just now, the 6 category, okay, they were already have a specified rates of withholding tax. Okay, and for the purpose of determine the withholding tax, they will be based on the gross income, okay, not on the adjusted income, meaning that, okay, when we talk about gross income, totally income that they earn, not consider any expenses or deductions that might be claimed by that company lah, okay, by that company or by that person. Jadi kalau kita kira apa, kalau kita tengok balik, kita kira income tax untuk individual taxpayer last time, sama ada business income, non-business income. Okay, selalunya kita akan kira cukai based on adjusted income, meaning that the income already deduct for any expenses or deduction. Okay, could be include donation. Tapi untuk withholding tax, we don't look at it. Okay, we just use the gross income. Okay, the tax rate and the gross income. So for withholding tax, it is a final tax. Okay, other than contract payment. Contract payment dia ada apa nama tu, ada specification dia lain sikit je, nanti kita akan tengok. Okay, withholding tax ni we call it a final tax, meaning that once you pay, it has been determined that, okay, 15%, let's say 15% withholding tax, so that's it. Okay, there is no more tax applicable to that particular transactions. It is final. Okay, tak ada dah nak tolak rebate ke apa, tak ada dah. Okay, final. So once the withholding tax has been complied, so non-resident need not account for further Malaysian tax. So tak ada dah, settle kira sampai situ je. Okay. Okay, these are the rate of by category of the by withholding tax. Okay, we can see here royalty payment will be subject to 10% withholding tax, interest 15%, contract payment. Okay, ini ada based on the situation. Generally, contract payment, the withholding tax compulsory is 10%, but due to certain situation, it could be plus with 3%. Okay, and then for payment made for public entertainers, the withholding tax will be 15%. For special classes of income, section 4A, 10%. Other income in section 4F, also 10%. And the withdrawal from private retirement scheme. Okay, what is private retirement scheme? Okay, you can have further reading on this topic under the public ruling. Okay, I've already uploaded via your clip. Okay, withdrawal from PRS pre-55 years old. That means early lah. Okay, early withdrawal. Kalau you withdraw after you reach the age of pension, okay, 55 years old, so there is no withholding tax. But if the withdrawal made before, okay, before reaching the age of 55 years old, the non-resident will be subject to 8% withholding tax. Okay. So what is the responsibility of the payer? So as we all know, as mentioned just now, payer is the agent of, is the agent for non-resident. So when the payer made the type of payment within the scope of withholding tax to non-resident or credit, made payments clear. Okay. Yang kedua, credit that payment to the non-resident. Okay. Credit ni, we have details regarding what is meant by credit. Okay. So within 1 month after paying or crediting the payment, render an account and pay the amount of withholding tax, okay, the payer need to submit the payment of withholding tax to the tax authority within 1 month. Okay, ini tugas payer lah. Okay, so withholding tax liability due and payable to the IRB on the earlier of either crediting or payment to the non-resident. So this is the responsibility of payer. Okay, we can simplify like this diagram. Okay, payer withhold some money, okay, from the payment. Okay, withhold some amount that is tax from the payment to the non-resident. Means that payer will pay the net payment of tax. Okay, the net amount of tax to non-resident. Let's say interest tadi 10% kan? Sorry, royalty 10%. Maknanya kalau you have made an interest payment to non-resident 10,000 for example, so you need to withhold 10% of it. Okay, 10% of 10,000, 1,000 lah. Meaning that payer will pay to the non-resident only 9,000. 1,000 will hold, okay, will be held by the payer as a tax. And later on, the withholding tax submitted to the IRB. Okay, that is the orang kata the overview ataupun the overview of the how the concept of when we talk about withholding tax, okay, look like. Okay, the crediting, the meaning of crediting here. Okay, ordinary meaning when we talk about credit, okay, crediting, okay, just a simple word, making available to. Okay, we make it available to make payment. Kita tak buat lagi payment, crediting ni, okay. But the action has been done to make it available to make the payment. Okay, acknowledging the debt due to non-resident. Okay, kita mengesahkan, we verify that, okay, we have a debt due. Debt due, apa dia payment tadilah. Okay, to the non-resident. Okay, for instance, crediting to non-resident bank account. Okay, crediting tak semestinya terus payment ya. Kalau payment, payment lah. Okay, crediting ni mungkin between certain bank, certain country ada gap. Okay, a few days and so on. Okay, or maybe crediting also involve intercompany account. Okay, so this is the meaning that has been defined ataupun has been given by the public ruling 10/2019. Crediting here referring to the amount, okay, referring to the situation where, okay, journal, it is more than a mere journal entry or an accrual of the liability in the accounts of the payer. And an amount is considered as having been credited if the amount is available to or for the benefit of the non-resident payee. Okay, mean that kita dah record journal kita dah record dah. Kita kata, okay, kita dah decide, okay, interest payable. Interest tak bayar lagi kan, kita dah record dah ada, kita dah apa orang kata, dah recognize the liability is there. Okay, interest payable to non-resident. Okay, so journal entry tu pun dah kira crediting, within the meaning of crediting. Okay, and then crediting in a contra situation. Okay, contra. Okay, I believe that everyone know what is meant by contra. Okay, here referring to the situation where we offset the amount. Okay, we offset the amount of payment of income to non-resident with the amount owing by the non-resident. Contoh maknanya saya payer, saya nak bayar interest ni dekat payee non-resident tu, tapi non-resident tu dia ada hutang dengan saya. So I offset saja. So itu maksud dia contra. So in that case, if we have the situation, meaning that we are available to offset, okay, then itu pun memenuhi jugalah definition of crediting. Okay, and the date of crediting, ini penting sebab kita ada tempoh 30 hari kan. Okay, from the date of crediting to submit the payment, to submit the tax, withholding tax to the IRB. Okay, date of crediting here refer to the date the amount is paid. Okay, clear, payment made lah. Or the date the amount is credited. in the bank account of the recipient, or the date when we have a contra entry is made. So keadaan ni lah target-target yang perlu kita consider. Okay, we look at the first payment regarding royalty income section section 4D. Okay, what is meant by royalty? Okay, we've gone through this last semester. Okay, I hope everyone still fresh in mind regarding the royalty. Okay, so basically, you paid for the use of, for the right to use of any copyright, artistic, scientific work, patent, formula, trademarks, television broadcasting, and other like property or rights. Payment regarding know-how or information concerning industrial, technical, industrial, commercial, or scientific knowledge, and skill. And also royalty will include income derived from the alienation of any property, know-how, or information mentioned in paragraph A. So royalty income, which is deemed to be derived from Malaysia, is subject to withholding tax. Okay. So the clue is the income tu kena, first thing of course lah, mana-mana pun under Income Tax Act, bila kita sebut income ni kena cukai, means that the income is deemed derived from Malaysia. Okay, deemed to be derived from Malaysia. So apa syarat dia ataupun what are those situations that we can say those income is derived from Malaysia? Okay, first we look into in terms of who is responsible to the payment. Okay, if the responsibility of payment lies to the government or state government, okay, automatic it is derived from Malaysia. Or the responsibility for payment lies with the person who is a resident. Okay, the payer tu resident. Third, C, royalty is charged as an outgoing or expense again any income accruing or derived from Malaysia. Meaning that here, ini yang banyak juga berlaku lah. Okay, royalty expense you incurred, you bayar royalty tu, bayar royalty expense kan. Royalty expense that you paid is actually constitute ataupun resulted from, okay, expenses you incurred to gain, okay, to gain income derived from Malaysia. Maknanya you guna skill tu untuk business di Malaysia. Dan skill tu you kena bayar royalty. Okay. So royalty expenses tu charge as an expenses against that income. Okay, that business income in Malaysia. Okay, itu dimaksudkan dengan C. Okay. So deduction for withholding tax, non-resident receiving royalty income would be liable for withholding tax if the royalty income is deemed derived from Malaysia. So that person, the non-resident, will receive net royalty income, meaning that the gross royalty income deduct for the withholding tax. Okay, you could refer to example 1 and 2. Okay. Okay, why do you think that the government has this kind of withholding tax? Anyone? Why is it the government has withholding tax? Kenapa tak bayar, tak pergi je bayar cukai dekat IRB, tak payah withhold? Anyone? Siapa boleh agak? Why do we have this concept of withholding tax? Mana ni saya tengok nama ni ada 23 orang je ni. What?
Yeah, madam.
Okay, what do you think? Why government has this kind of withholding tax?
Yeah.
Mana Syakir, mana ni, mana? Siapa seorang lagi tu kawan dia tu? Ni tak ada nama ni. Ni tidur lagi tak masuk kelas tu. Abang, what's your opinion? Okay, what you can guess why the government has this kind of withholding tax? Anyone? Yang tu tax. Kenapa? Kenapa? Kita tak, mana resident tu pergi bayar je lah. Tak perlu kita ni kena withhold semua tu. Kenapa? Tax tu memang kita faham lah. Tax as income to the country. Kenapa? At the first place, kenapa kita payer ni kena potong siap-siap. Ambil withhold siap-siap. The amount of withholding tax, the amount of tax lah.
Madam,
Ya.
saya rasa kan dapat prevent from incurring double taxation.
Double taxation. Not really. Simple je. Jawapan dia simple je. Kenapa? Kenapa?
Satu lagi.
Madam,
Ya.
saya teka sebab government nak macam dia nak prevent itu duit keluar dari negara terlalu cepat.
Duit keluar daripada negara memang keluar juga. Ayat kan bila kita buat payment.
Tapi sebab ada tax, withholding tax ni, jadi macam macam
Maknanya
kurang
mungkin
lah.
the
gajinya.
country will face losing of revenue lah. The risk of losing revenue. Okay, bolehlah mirip sikit Bon. Okay, dia simple je macam ni. Okay, since now we are dealing with non-resident. Okay, non-resident person, orang luar negara yang tak ada bisnes apa-apa pun dekat Malaysia. Tak ada business property, tak ada office, tak ada apa. Okay, so let's say if we don't have the withholding concept ni, ataupun sistem ni, maknanya kita pun bayarlah dekat non-resident tu 10,000. Bayar je jumlah interest ke royalty tu bayar siap-siap. Agak-agak dia bayar ke tax dekat Malaysia? Memang sah-sah dah lah kan? Maknanya dah dapat payment, dah lah habis dah kita pula macam mana kita nak apa orang kata? Nak track balik dia, nak minta dia bayar cukai dekat negara kita. Sebab dia bukan rakyat kita, dia bukan that person they don't have any business premise. So kita hanya ada satu transaction saja. Kita ada transaction saja dengan dia. Okay. So that's why in order to avoid risk of losing revenue to the country, we have this withholding tax. Maknanya tanggungjawab tu dekat siapa? Orang yang membayar. Okay. Kita boleh kontrol rakyat kita lah. Resident person tu yang membayar tu kita boleh kontrol. Yang dekat luar negara tu kita nak kontrol. So that's why withholding tax, okay, we can prevent lah. Okay, we can prevent losing of a country's revenue. Okay, so the payer, that's why we have this concept. Okay, the payer kita boleh kontrol. So kau tak submit payment sekian tempoh, then you akan kena royalty, kena penalty, you kena affect your tax and so on lah. Banyak kisah dah lepas tu. Okay, so that's why we have this kind of withholding tax system. Okay, look at example 1. Okay, seller Sans yang Berhad, resident company in Malaysia, manufacture computer for export. Okay, during 2022, the company entered agreement with WiseKit Limited, a foreign company, for the transfer of technical know-how and assistance. So maknanya kita nak guna kepakaran dia, okay, daripada luar. Okay, the amount of 80,000 royalties will be payable on 10 December 2022 to WiseKit Limited. Okay, discuss the withholding tax requirement. Okay, so the recipient here, WiseKit though, is a non-resident, and the royalty income is deemed derived from Malaysia because seller's son is resident. Okay, and seller's son is resident and the company is responsible to make the payment. Okay, so dia boleh cukuplah syarat apa nama tu, that royalty income subject to withholding tax. Okay, and for royalty 10% withholding tax will be withhold, okay, by the payer. That is 10% over 80,000 gross. 80,000 is 8,000. Therefore, seller Sindian Berhad will pay only 72,000 to WiseKit. Okay, after deducting the amount of 8,000 withholding tax, and okay, the payer must make sure the withholding tax of 8,000 must be paid to the IRB not later than 9 January 2023. Okay, tengok tarikh kita buat amounts tu payable 10 December last year. So tahun ni sampai 9 hari bulan lah, tempoh cukup 30 hari. Yeah. Okay, using example 24.1. If the amount of royalty is paid to a Malaysian branch of WiseKit. Okay, tengok situation dia berbeza. Yang the first one, kita bayar direct to the company outside Malaysia. Okay, what happens at situation number 2? Okay, let's say WiseKit Limited has a branch in Malaysia. Maknanya dia ada business premise. Okay, so the amount of royalty paid to the branch, okay, to the Malaysian branch of that company will not subject to any withholding tax. Tak ada isu lah sebab bila kita bayar dekat branch, the considered company tu carry on business in Malaysia. Okay, royalty income is attributable to a business carry on in Malaysia. So tak ada isu withholding tax. Sekiranya branch. Okay. For non-compliance, penalty pada siapa? Penalty to the payer. Okay. If the payer fail to submit the amount of withholding tax to the IRB, 10% royalty, within 1 month after crediting or paying the royalty amount to the non-resident, then 10% penalty on the unpaid withholding tax will be levied. Okay, will be imposed 10%. So you could refer to example 3. Okay, let's say your gross royalty income is 1,000. So withholding tax is 10%, 100. So you just made a payment of 900, net amount of 900 to non-resident. Okay, settle for non-resident. Ini dah selesai dah sebab kita dah withhold the tax. Okay, cuma yang tempat kita sebagai payer ni tak selesai lagi selagi mana you tak submit the payment. Okay, if you are not submit the payment within a month, so you will be subject to another 10% of the unpaid. That is 100 tadi kan. So kena denda 10 ringgit. So in total, your total debt due to the government become 110. Okay. The consequences, another situation is the payer would be subject to penalty for incorrect tax return submit to the IRB. Okay, regarding incompliance to pay withholding tax. Okay, tengok ni situation for before any payer, any company, any payer lah. Okay, you must pay, you must settle all matters regarding withholding tax, including penalty, before you submit your company tax return form. Maknanya you nak kira cukai you semua tu, sebelum you submit, you kena settle dulu withholding tax. If you are not you have not submit the payment of withholding tax, that means you submit dulu tax return form, company you, tapi you ada lagi withholding tax tak bayar. Okay, the penalty would be 100% of the tax under charge. Ini lagi besar kesan dia ni. Okay, what is meant by 100% of tax under charge? Okay, ni saya cerita nanti. Kita akan tengok next slide. Okay. So, kena apa-apa kena ingat. You must pay for withholding tax prior to submission your tax return form. Okay, example 4. Ranjun accounts ni year end 31st December. For 2022, the due date submit tax return form is 7 months, that is on the 31st July. Ini tarikh akhir dia nak kena submit tax return form. Okay, the company paid a royalty to Disney Limited USA in July 2022, amounting to 900, but failed to remit the withholding tax of 1,000 on the date of submission of return form C. Okay. Maknanya dia ada 9,000 withholding tax tak settle lagi, tapi dia dah sampai due date dia nak kena submit tax return form dia. Okay, jadi in this situation, this company has the possibility to be penalized. Okay, be penalized for the submission of tax return form with incorrect return. Dia kata sebab you salah, you submit income yang salah lah. Okay, you submit cukai yang silap. Kenapa jadi silap? Contoh tengok contoh ni. Okay, company claim tax deduction of gross income 10,000. Let's say dia punya royalty kat sini 10,000. Macam mana tahu 10,000? Okay, sebab withholding tax 1,000. So dia punya payment tu royalty 9,000, total gross dia 10,000. Okay. Bila you tak buat payment lagi withholding tax dan you claim, sebab royalty kan expenses. Okay, kita claim expenses kita tolak lah. Okay, you punya business income semua tu tolak dalam expenses you 10,000 royalty. Sedangkan you tak bayar lagi tu 1,000 withholding tax, tapi dah claim full dah expenses. So yang ni salahnya, that's why disuruh kita settle dulu withholding tax sebelum kita submit cukai kita. Okay, means that your gross income, okay, your adjusted income tu, you nak dapatkan chargeable income, all those thing tu, okay, you dah tolak expenses royalty you 10,000. Okay, which is yang ni dikata undercharge. Okay, undercharge sebab apa? Tax undercharge sebab you tolak sepatutnya expenses dia, sebab you tak bayar lagi kan, sepatutnya baru 9,000 dah sepatutnya. Tapi kita dah declare dah expenses kita, royalty kita 10,000. Sedangkan kita tak submit lagi tu, 1,000 tu tak submit lagi dekat IRB. Okay, so kita dah declare. Jadi dalam case ni, kita submit incorrect tax return form. Okay, sebab kita tolak 10,000 royalty. So 10,000 yang kita tolak tu reduce our tax liability. Okay, company dia punya income tax rate dia flat, tak macam individu. Okay, so currently for 2022 dia punya income tax rate for company 24%. Okay, jadi bila kita dah tolak royalty 10,000, means that kita reduce our tax liability, okay, by 10,000 times 24%. Kita dah kurang cukai kita. Sedangkan kita tak settle lagi tadi withholding tax. So itu dimaksudkan tax under charge. Okay, at 24%, 2,400. And then due to this thing, you pun kena penalty 100%. Kena. incorrect return 100%, penalty you 2,400. So sekarang hutang you dekat government 4,800. Satu, tax yang terkurang tadi, terkurang kira. Yang kedua, denda incorrect return. So 4,800. Okay, withholding tax yang you nak kena submit dekat government, ni saja-saja lah orang kata. Disebabkan asalnya tak submit withholding tax, kesan dia besar lagi. Tengok, dah satu charge under tax under charge, satu lagi penalty 100%. Okay. Ni dia penyakit lah ni. Sepatutnya you settle withholding tax ni ataupun you bayar je late penalty. Kena make sure you settle sebelum you submit tax return form. So, ini satu, the first part, yang ni satu you punya hutang dengan kerajaan. Yang kedua adalah withholding tax plus late payment penalty. Okay, 100. So, 1,100. Okay, ini total jadi berapa ribu dah? 4,000, 5,900. Okay, ni kesan dia. When you do not comply with the requirement regarding payment of withholding tax. Dua kesan dia. First, late payment penalty. Second, tax under charge and penalty of incorrect return. Okay. Okay, there were also exemptions. Okay, exemptions for royalty, withholding tax. Okay, first exemption related to ministerial exemption. Okay, royalty may be completely exempted from withholding tax when the royalty are approved by the Minister of Finance. Okay, sekiranya royalty yang you terlibat tu memang approved by the MOF to be exempted. So, bila royalty tu exempted, maknanya tak adalah withholding tax. Okay, second, approved industrial royalties. Could refer to example 24.5. Approved and certified by competent authority of Malaysia for the purpose of promoting industrial development. Payable, apa dia masukkan dengan approved industrial royalty tu Okay, payable by an enterprise which is engaged in the sector of manufacturing, construction, civil engineering or shipbuilding, electricity, hydraulic power or water supply. So kalau you ada dah 1, 2, 3 ni, so income tu payment of that royalty tu will be exempted from tax. So tak adalah withholding tax. Okay, next exemption is regarding software. Royalty juga, royalty for using of software. Okay, kita beli software kan daripada luar. Okay, but here exemption given for software, royalty for software purchase for personal usage. Maknanya kita ni end user, resident individual, we buy software or any right to use for personal usage, okay, not for business. So this royalty payment is exempted from tax. Okay, this is regarding purchase software of any right to use a shrink wrap software, site license. Okay, you kena beli license, contoh window okay, laptop ni kita kena bayar license, tapi untuk personal use tak ada issue lah. Okay, or downloadable software or software bundle that we have when we purchase the computer, smartphone or tablet. Okay, all of these due to for personal usage, the royalty is exempted from withholding tax. Example 5. Okay, example 5. Environment Chemicals Berhad Resident Company. The company has a branch in China manufacturing chemical. Under the royalty agreement with Technology Limited UK company, the branch in China is required to pay the Technology Limited a royalty of 4% on its annual sales. So the total royalty charge in the branch account is 300,000. So by right, ini royalty yang branch di China kena bayar dekat Technology Limited. So apa kesan dia? Determine whether royalty received by Technology Limited derived from Malaysia and explain the tax treatment thereof. Okay, first kita tengok. Dia punya ECSB, Malaysia resident, has a branch in China which paid royalty 4% to Technology Limited in UK. Sekarang kita nak tengok payment tu, royalty yang kita bayar dekat Technology Limited tu derived from Malaysia or not? Okay, so be careful. Yang ni branch. Okay. Bila branch dengan ECSB ni satu company ke company yang berbeza? Okay, satu company kan? Okay, bila sebut branch, satu company dengan ECSB. So, royalty received by Technology Limited will be considered as deemed derived from Malaysia. Okay, it's derived from Malaysia because it is paid by ECSB, who is tax resident. And thus, that royalty will be subject to withholding tax. Okay, a foreign branch will follow the resident status of the head office. As such, China branch will be accorded Malaysian resident status di company asal HQ lah. So the fact that royalty is not charged as an expense against any income derived from Malaysia is not relevant. Okay, so in this case, kita tengok royalty tu memang diconsider derived from Malaysia. And thus, ECSB need to deduct 10% withholding tax on the royalty payment to Technology Limited, and then need to submit the payment within 1 month to the IRB. Okay, my next question. How about if branch in China tu, saya tukar jadi subsidiary company in China, ada efek tak dekat dia punya treatment, tax treatment? ECSB in Malaysia, let's say lah, in China tu, kita tukar instead of branch, dia jadi ABC. Okay, ABC company, okay, in China, which is subsidiary to the ECSB. Does the tax treatment change or similar to what we have now? Okay, sebab apa you rasanya change? Okay. So bila dia once it becomes subsidiary, it is separate entity, different entity with ECSB. Okay, different company lah, walaupun dia ada ECSB ni ada control. Okay, in ABC tadi. Tapi in terms of business entity, maknanya ECSB dia ada its own tax, ABC dia ada its own tax. Kan? So dia punya tax treatment, kalau bila saya tukar branch dia jadi subsidiary, maknanya the royalty is not derived from Malaysia anymore. Okay, so tak ada isu lah tax, withholding tax. Okay, clear lah? Okay, next digital advertisement. Okay, for digital advertisement, as we all know, okay, social media plays important roles. Okay, and also provide a better platforms for digital advertisement. Okay, for business lah. Okay, e-marketing or whatsoever lah. Okay, so to make your product available ataupun apa orang kata, to make your business aware by the consumer. Okay, maknanya sebab sekarang meluas penggunaan social media platform itu. Masuk semua dah ni lah. FB, TikTok, Instagram, apa benda lagi. You all lebih mahal daripada saya lah. Okay, Twitter lah apalah kan. So YouTube. So all those things, okay, that's part of the important tools lah dalam business. Okay. Semua social media ni kena bayar ke tidak? You nak business dekat ni, kena bayar ke tak? Ke boleh je free je boleh business kat situ? Kena bayar ke tidak? Of course we need to pay, okay, subscription. We need to subscribe kan? Kena bayar lah. Okay, for using the social media platforms. Okay, so in that case, the subscription of the social media platforms is within the scope of royalty. Okay, masih dalam scope royalty, and thus withholding tax of 10% on the gross payment applies. But okay, ada but ya, royalty. But withholding tax that must be withhold ataupun must be pay bila when we talk about subscription. Contohlah you subscribe dengan YouTube. Okay, YouTube luar negara. Okay, you kena bayar subscription tu. Okay, agak-agak you akan bayar, contohlah subscription tu 10,000. Agak-agak you akan bayar 10,000 ke? Okay, saya nak tolak siap-siap lah withholding tax asal YouTube layan tak you? Okay, so for this situation, dia berbeza dengan yang tadi ya. Okay, it's different. Okay, for this subscription, you dah kena bayar in advance sebelum you boleh guna platform tu. Dan nak bayar tu, dia kena bayar semualah. Gross amount. Okay, tak ada nak layannya YouTube tu, withhold semua tak ada. Okay, and thus in that situation, okay, kita akan bayar penuh lah 10,000 to the YouTube. Tapi dekat government, dekat negara kita, we have the responsibility, okay, to pay withholding tax 10% tadi. Tapi YouTube bayar tak kat kita? Tak ada. Okay, so in that case, the withholding tax will be absorbed by the payer. Maknanya payer yang kena bayar duit dia sendiri. Okay, the withholding tax for digital social media advertisement via social media platform. So, expense. Ada extra expense lah pada kita kan. Satu dah kena bayar 10,000, lepas tu tambah pula withholding tax lagi kena bayar sendiri ni. But these expenses remotely connected with the income production. Okay, remotely connected sini maksudnya it is unusual. Okay, tidak ada business yang withholding tax charge sebagai expenses to generate your income. That's why IRB ataupun ITA does not allow this withholding tax absorbed by the payer as part of the expenses, deductible expenses. Jadi kalau kita tengok example 6, okay, saya tak scan ni. Example 6, bila kata dalam case you bayar kat YouTube tadi 10,000 tu je you boleh claim expenses you. Withholding tax yang you top up dengan duit you sendiri tu nak kena bayar dekat IRB tu dikira gone lah. Okay, tak, dalam FA okay je, boleh tolak je expenses, tapi untuk tax purposes it is non-allowable item. Okay, if you look at the example 6, okay, Chai trades, cosmetic jewellery, okay, place advertisement in Google and Facebook and incurred digital advertisement cost 48,000. November 22, he paid the sum 48,000 to Google USA. Withholding tax absorbed 10% of that amount, is 4,800, was paid to the IRB. Okay, dia dibayar tak ada isu. Okay. Cuma the amount deductible in order to get the adjusted income of the business were only 48,000 only. Okay, tak termasuk yang the amount of withholding tax absorbed by the payer. Okay, clear ni ya? Digital advertisement. Okay, next category kita tengok interest. Okay, what is meant by interest? Ni kita dah tengok dulu masa tax 1. Okay, so basically payment that you made because of you delay payment. Payment that you made, the amount, okay, the amount that you need to compensate, okay, because of the delay in payment. Okay, another definition, payment by reference to time for the use of money. Okay, you use somebody else's money and then in return you pay based on the time you need to pay extra. Okay, ni lah. Kalau yang Islamic lah. Okay, so it must be a principal and must be due to the person who is entitled to receive the interest. Okay, so derivation dia sama macam royalty juga. Tengok siapa yang bayar. Okay, the interest payable tu, interest made is regarding the money that you borrow to be used in the production of your business income, okay, your gross income. Maknanya you buat loan tu, you guna duit tu untuk buat business you, bukan guna untuk benda lain. So, ini syarat dia lah. And the interest is payable irrespective of money borrowed which is secured by any other property asset situated in Malaysia. Or you loan tu, you buat, you cagarkan asset you di Malaysia. Okay, ini syarat untuk bila kata interest income deemed derived from Malaysia. And sama juga macam royalty, the interest is charged as an expenses. Again, the income that is derived from Malaysia. Okay, regarding deduction of work in process, withholding tax, samalah treatment macam royalty tadi. Cuma for interest, it will be withhold at 15%. Okay, 15%. And if the interest income is exempted or attributable to a business carried on by non-resident in Malaysia, then it is not subject ataupun exempted from withholding tax. Maknanya non-resident yang you buat loan juga business dekat Malaysia. Dia non-resident tapi he is carry on a business in Malaysia. So dia tak layak lah. Okay, consider to withholding tax. Okay. So refer example typo tu 24/7. Okay, Spring Ice yang berhad tax resident developing theme park in Singapore. During the year ended June 2021, the company made payment 350,000 to Mr. Winstanley, a resident of Australia, for the interest on the loan, on the 10 million loan at the rate of 3.5% per year. So the loan is used as working capital of the company. Maknanya dia buat loan 10,000 tu untuk bangunkan theme park tadi. Dia guna untuk bisnes lah. Okay. So the royalty 350,000. Okay. Sebab kita tengok kat sini, Mr. Winstanley is non-resident. And the interest income derived from Malaysia. Sebab dia guna untuk bisnes di Malaysia. And the responsibility of payment pun by tax resident person. Okay. In that case, the withholding tax would be 15% over 350,000. Must withhold and then submit to the IRB within 1 month. The net amount, maknanya daripada 350,000 tu, only 297,500 will be paid to Mr. Winstanley. Okay, kita dah withhold 15%. Okay, yang ni untuk case interest. Okay, next. Interest again, masih interest. Cover non-resident deriving income paying interest on loan borrow. Whether the interest is deemed derived from Malaysia will depend on whether he had claimed the interest expend against the Malaysian derived income. Ini example lah. Okay, dia guna loan tu untuk business dia. Ini another example. Lee Kim, non-resident, carries timber business in Malaysia. He borrowed 3 million from Clinton, US resident. The loan is used to finance his business in Malaysia. Okay, and charged out as an expense in arriving. Okay, so dia ada syarat dia. Loan tu diguna untuk business di Malaysia. Walaupun dia ni, Lee ni, non-resident. Okay, tapi dia ada penuhi syarat dia lah. Okay, so the interest deemed is still considered deemed derived from Malaysia, and as it is being charged as an expense against Malaysia business income. Okay, penalty for non-compliance sama macam royalty. Okay, kalau you dapat late payment, late submission of withholding tax, you will be liable to 10% penalty on the unpaid withholding tax. Sama juga treatment macam royalty tadi. Okay, penalty for incorrect return pun sama. Okay, 100% of the tax under charge. Konsep yang sama lah macam tadi ya. So must be settled. You must settle all the withholding tax payment before you submit the tax return form. Okay, exemptions given for those interest paid by financial institution to non-resident. Maknanya kalau bank bayar interest pada non-resident tak kena withhold tax. Interest paid to non-resident company pun tak kena. Interest on Islamic securities, interest or discount on securities and bonds, interest income of unit trust pun dapat exemption, and last labuan offshore bank. Okay, example 9. Okay, Yongjoi, Hong Kong Limited, a company resident in Hong Kong, grant a loan 5 million to an interest rate 2.5% to its subsidiary company Hanken in Malaysia. A tax resident in Malaysia. The loan is to finance the purchase of plant used for the business of the subsidiary company. Okay, so implication for withholding tax. Okay, of course kena sebab interest paid. So dikira sebab dia loan tu guna untuk business di Malaysia. So the income, the payment of interest income is subject to withholding tax. It is derived from Malaysia. And the subsidiary company is a tax resident. And the loan has been used to finance the business of production ataupun production of the gross income derived from Malaysia. So the 15% withholding tax will be deducted from the interest once the company made payment or crediting the amount to Yongjoi non-resident company. Okay, okay, ini DTA ya. Treaty, dipanggil treaty. Okay, ini yang saya cakap tadi DTA, the agreement between countries, double taxation agreement. So basically DTA ni is to actually to find an agreement between countries in order to minimize the rate of withholding tax. Okay, achieve the DTA between and some other treaties country. Okay, tengoklah negara-negara mana. Contoh interest received from Malaysia by resident of Belgium, Japan, Netherlands or UK are subjected to 10% withholding tax. Thus, non-resident taxpayer should try to seek treaty protection. That is possible lower tax rate lah of withholding tax on interest income whenever possible. So tengok negara mana yang bersetuju lah. Contoh yang general memang ni kata interest kalau dalam ni dalam negara-negara ni under DTA dia orang setuju withholding tax untuk non-resident daripada country ni 10% je. untuk interest. Kalau ikut yang normal Malaysia 15 kan. So with having DTA tadi, so this country, Belgium, Japan semua ni, kalau you ada business dengan this kind, I mean you make payment to this kind of these countries, so you akan withhold dia punya tax hanya 10% je lah. Okay. So basically DTA ni terpanggil pun treaty dia panggil ya. Basically to have win-win situation. Okay, to allow lower tax rate. Okay. Lower tax rate of withholding tax within the ambit of interest as defined in those treaties. Tengok pada agreement masing-masing lah kan, country masing-masing. Okay, example 10. Okay, example 10, Nippon Company tax resident. Okay, Nippon Company, Nippon Computers yang berhad tax resident borrow 1 million from its parent company in Japan, Nippon Holdings, for the purchase of plant and machinery for use in its factory in Malaysia, which was manufacturing portable computer hard disk. Interest expense of 80,000 was incurred for 2022. Okay, so sekarang ni NCSB pinjam duit daripada parent untuk guna dalam bisnes di NESB untuk guna untuk bisnes dia. Subsidiary company yang lagi satu NESB pinjam duit daripada parent juga Nippon, tapi untuk bisnes di factory in Indonesia. So how do we actually treat this interest payment? Okay, whether it derived from Malaysia or not. Okay, first kita tengok. Responsibility of payment of interest in the basis here lies with the person who is resident. Okay, so siapa? NCSB resident. Dia bayar interest tu. So memang yang ni deemed derived from Malaysia. Okay, settle. And it is payable in respect of money borrowed by that person and employed ataupun use that money in the production of gross income derived from Malaysia. Okay. So untuk condition 1 and 2, both NCSB apa orang kata fulfill lah. Okay, fulfill the criteria. For NESB, the interest is not deemed derived from Malaysia because, okay, even though the taxpayer is a tax resident in Malaysia, but the loan, the amount borrowed is not being used in the business in Malaysia. Okay, the amount borrowed is being used in the business in Indonesia. So dia tak fulfill the requirement, those interest income derived from Malaysia. So tax treatment only for NCSB subject income received by Nippon would be subject to withholding tax of 15%. Okay, and if since ini Japan, the rate of tax may be reduced based on the double tax treaty between Malaysia and Japan. So the appropriate withholding tax will be 10%. Okay, so initially 15%, tapi antara Malaysia dengan Jepun kita ada DTA, interest rate is, the withholding tax rate is 10% only. So withhold 10% je lah, okay, dalam case ni. Okay, alright. Okay, and then another income is income ataupun payment that you make to public entertainer. Ni siapa public entertainer tu? Artis-artis yang datang kat Malaysia tu, kita bayar tak? Artis luar yang datang kat Malaysia buat konsert dan sebagainya tu, okay, kita bayarlah, organizer kat sini bayar. Okay, so this is the definition of public entertainer. Okay, it comprises a host, compare, okay, host, model, circus performer, lecturer, speaker, sports person, artist, individual exercising any profession, vocation or employment of similar nature. Okay. And another definition also include in public entertainer ni, an individual who uses his intellectual, artistic, musical, personal, physical skill or character, carry out any activity in connection with any purpose through live, print, electronic, satellite, cable, fiber optic or other medium for film or tape or for television or radio broadcast pun termasuk juga under definition of public entertainer. Kalau tengok yang dalam kotak hijau ni, ini dulu punya definition prior to 2017. Okay, yang mana sangat kecil lah dia punya the scope of the definition tu for covering public entertainer is quite small. As compared to the new one, it is very broad. Okay, lebih luas, lebih besar dan cover a lot of public entertainer. Okay. So for the remuneration of the remuneration of the public entertainer, the withholding tax rate is 15%. Okay. Any payment termasuk remuneration here including benefits in kind. Okay, you bayar seorang artis last year siapa datang? Last year ke this year? Biasalah kalau datang tu ada je isu kat Malaysia tapi datang aja. Okay, artis tu datang buat konsert kat Malaysia dia dibayar. Okay, remuneration lah including any benefits in kind paid to the non-resident public entertainer in respect of services rendered in Malaysia. Okay, and then sama je treatment dia for non-compliance, penalty semua tu sama je macam royalty or interest. Okay. So the gross income in respect of the public entertainer can be said derived from Malaysia for any period during which the employment is exercised in Malaysia. Okay, you datang Malaysia. Or for any period or leave attributable to the exercise of employment in Malaysia, or any period during which the employee perform outside Malaysia duties incidental to the exercise of employment in Malaysia. Okay, yang ni tak semestinya kita kata datang fizikal in Malaysia. Kadang tu dia boleh buat live, tapi dia ada kontrak ataupun dia ada agreement dengan company di Malaysia, bayar. Contoh, Astro. Okay. Netflix ke apa. Okay, Astro lah senang Malaysia punya. Okay, Astro apa nama tu bukan subscribe lah, kata-kata buy lah. Okay, purchase the shows of that artist. Tapi dia tak datang Malaysia pun, show dia dekat luar contoh. Okay, so beli and then masukkan dalam TV Malaysia kan. So dia ada bayar dekat artis tu di luar negara. So pun ini akan termasuk dalam definition public entertainer. Jadi tidak semesti datang lah. That's why dia kata any period during employment, yes, ini clear. For any period during which employee perform outside Malaysia duties. Okay, dia ada kontrak. Kontrak untuk certain tempoh, tak kira lah dia ada di Malaysia ke di luar Malaysia, tapi dia berkait dalam satu kontrak yang sama. So itu dikira income derived from Malaysia. Okay, exemptions given for religious lectures. Okay, religious lectures or prayers not for commercial purpose. Okay, without imposing payment on participants, and the institution must be registered under any written law. So, yang ni tak kena withholding tax. Driver of a racing car or motorcycle pun tak kena. Yang ni. Okay, Formula 1 ke, apa lagi motosikal apa kat Malaysia selalunya. Saya lupa lah apa nama dia. Okay, so event-event macam ni driver tak exempted from withholding tax. Begitu juga untuk promoter of the car or motorcycle races. Okay, non-resident film companies, actors and film crews who are in Malaysia pun exempted, and professional sportsmen or sportswomen, okay, will be exempted from withholding tax. Yang ni bila sebut sportsman ni could be coach kan. So sportsman initially sportsman, lepas tu dia datang Malaysia invited to okay for the session coaching and whatsoever. So itu dapat exemption lah. Okay, for penalty for non-compliance sama juga. 10% penalty on the unpaid withholding tax. For incorrect return pun sama juga, penalty of 100% of the tax under charge. Okay. Okay, itu settle untuk sampai public entertainer. Okay, yang ni saya tak proceed lagi. Okay, saya nak you all go through the public ruling first. Okay, on withholding tax relating to special classes of income, section 4A, and then kita ada special income under section, other income under section 4F. Okay, and last kita akan tengok on ni apa dia, subhanallah, contract payment. Okay, ni contract payment. Okay, yang ni dia lain sikit treatment dia for contract payment ya. Okay, so 3 ni saya akan cover next week. So before that, PRS dengan DTA sekali lah next week ya. So before that, you do your revision on go through the public ruling first. Okay, before I end up, any question? Okay. Thank you everyone. Okay, sorry for the short lecture. Saya memang collapse seminggu dah. Hari ni quite okay lah. Pagi tadi I try to attend lecture untuk group B. Tapi petang ni I rasa macam, sebab saya tak boleh nak, saya tak tahu lah, energi saya memang sangat minimum. Saya tak boleh banyak bergerak. Okay, so tadi pun lecture saya duduk je. So petang ni sorry lah, supposed to be our face to face last lecture this week. Tapi awal-awal dah masuk online dah. Okay, so thank you everyone. See you next week insyaAllah. Okay, yang nak balik, of course lah yang balik tu nanti be careful. Siapa yang drive tu, elok lah. Yang ada naik motor, Bond baik dengan apa Bond?
Bas.
Bond balik bila?
13 malam.
Sorry? 3 apa?
13 malam.
13. Hari Khamis lah. Okay. Take care everyone. Assalamualaikum.